ran a 4.4 flat, did everything I was supposed to, and just didn't like feel right with the coach, throughout the whole camp. And went up to him after, with respect, and was just like, "Hey, coach, you think I can get better in any way? What ways do you think I can, improve?" And he told me, "You probably need to switch sports."
Before we get into the podcast, I want to tell you guys about our new sponsor, the first sponsor of the Next Up podcast with Adam Breneman, Manscaped, and the exclusive offer I've secured for all of you. Well, you have to check out the Performance Package 4.0. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you could ever need to keep you looking your best. It comes with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and even a travel bag to hold all your tools. Trust me, guys, you don't want to miss out on this bundle. So join over 8 million men worldwide who use Manscaped with an exclusive 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com with code ADAMB, ADAMB. Put it in manscaped.com when you're checking out. 20% off, that's a huge discount, and free shipping on your order. So I need all of you to show them tons of support by supporting Manscaped and using that code ADAMB. It's going to help me, help us a ton, help us grow this podcast and keep getting great guests. So shout out Manscaped. Use the code ADAMB at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping.
And we're back. It's the Next Up podcast. As always, I'm Adam Breneman. We're at Clemson today talking to one of my favorite college football players in the country, a guy who was a big-time recruit and has an amazing story, Will Shipley. Will's going to talk about everything about his career, his mindset. You guys are going to be really impressed. Before we get there, please subscribe to this podcast, run the numbers up, comment, share, like, post it on social media, follow us on social media. Anything you guys can do to show support. Let's go talk to Will. Next up. What's up, bro?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, bro.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you coming
Great to
by,
see
man.
you too, of course.
You been up here before?
No, first time.
The Martin Inn, bro.
Got a hospitality suite.
Nice.
I love it.
This is Chris and Mike.
Hey, what's up?
What's
Great
good,
to meet
bro?
you guys. Yes, sir. Will, great to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet you, man.
Great to meet you.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
How things going, man?
It's going great. Just got finished up with a great workout for the week.
Love it.
Yep.
Ready for the weekend?
Some finals next week. And
Oh, really?
yes, sir.
For what? For break?
Yeah, just break. Yeah, we've got about 2 weeks and then got to report back May 22nd for skills and drills.
Oh, sweet.
Player-led workouts and stuff.
Sweet.
I appreciate y'all having me. And so sorry for being a little late.
No, you're good, bro. We were just still we're setting up. Setup always takes a while, but we're excited to have you on, bro. I've been wanting you've been on my list of guys I want to have on for a while, so I'm excited to have you.
I appreciate that.
I got a lot to talk to you about.
You've been popping up on my timeline all the time, man. It's been fun to watch you. And,
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
It's just the way you pick everything out. I think you offer just such a good. You're a really good informant for the audience that loves college football.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So I love
try to do things a little different than like most analysts and tell them, because fans love that stuff of like, what's summer workouts like?
Exactly. Yeah.
People,
I saw your video on like what's an official visit like.
Yeah. People just don't know.
That,
you know. So it's been good. So
sweet.
So that mic should pick everything up.
Perfect.
We just kind of start rolling here, pretty laid back.
I love it.
Sit down. So I watched your interview. I always watch other interviews, right, to like get a sense of you. And you haven't done a lot of podcasts, I don't think.
No,
you haven't done
one previously, maybe with Darian Rencher. And,
so I watched that one. I know D Wrench pretty well. He's killing it too.
Yeah,
he's the TikTok king, man.
Right? Yeah.
And then I watched you on JD Pickles thing, or Pickell, yeah. And he's crushing it too, yeah. Yeah, that was fun to watch you on there. So
definitely. So what's your favorite thing since you've kind of gotten into this field?
Man, I do so much stuff. I do everything from like this podcast to like the social media content. I also I call games on TV, so I do like actual analysis too.
Yeah.
And it's funny that being on TV is fun because it's live television, right? It's like the closest you get to game day, where like you prepare all week, then you're on TV for 3 hours and you can't mess up.
Yeah, right.
So I enjoy that. I also really like what we're about to do. Like I enjoy just sitting down and just like finding out who you are and asking questions and just having good conversations. Like that's the fun part.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
No.
Do you enjoy doing media stuff? Like do you like interviews and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do. I just always take it back to my young self. When when I was just a little boy playing football, praying to get to these days, right? Yeah. So just always got to put it into perspective. Definitely gets to be a lot sometimes, and it gets to play a toll on your emotional state. But as long as you control it, which I think I've done a pretty good job of, and my support system has helped me out a lot with that. So, but yeah, I love it. I enjoy it, no doubt.
I love it. So, what I wanted to start with was some of the interviews I watched. A couple times you reference your core values in the interviews, or you say, does it go with my core values or your core value? What are your core values or the core value? Because I figured you have some if you've been saying it. I'd love to hear what they are.
Yeah, it's something that my family has preached to my brother and I since a very young age, and it's just really my priority list. God first, and He's the most important thing. Obviously, wouldn't be where I am today without the gifts that He's given me. And then family comes second. Always just lay down one's life for one's family. And I love my family to death. My older brother being a role model for me, and just paved the path for a lot of my success. And then my parents, man, all they've done for me is I can't even put it all into words. So yeah, just so appreciative of them. And then obviously the education part comes next. I really value education and just knowledge. I always want to learn. And then sports is a big part, and that's something that's been tough for me, is balancing that. Keeping education first. At a place like Clemson, playing such high Power 5 football, so many critics and things that go into it, and then keeping social last. And just keeping that priority list straight. And if I get off, then just stepping back, taking a perspective, and just getting those priorities back right.
I bet it's been cool. You mentioned your family, to have them along for this journey with you. Have they been enjoying the ride?
They love it. Yeah, they love it. My parents haven't missed a game. So they've got tailgate spots, met so many people, created great relationships, and not only just my parents and my close family, but extended family, extended friends that I think of as family, and being able to have them to Death Valley on Saturday and give them that experience. It's been great for everybody.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's always the best part, right?
Exactly.
They all live vicariously through you.
Yeah.
They're enjoying it. So I remember your recruiting process vividly, like following it. I remember when you were between Notre Dame and Clemson. I would love to just dive into that whole process, because it was, I don't want to call it dramatic, but a lot of people were following it. You were one of the top players in the country, and it was also during COVID, right? During the dead period of COVID. So it was just a wild time.
It was.
How did the process start? What was your first couple offers? Like, how to get off the ground?
Yeah, so take it all the way back to middle school. I know that I wanted to, play college athletics. I was a huge lacrosse player. Really loved the sport. It was actually the first sport that I played, because I wasn't able to do Pop Warner.
You're a lax bro.
Yes, I'm a lax bro.
You gotta have long hair to be a lax bro.
See, and you actually missed me, because I just got this cut. I had the lettuce. I had the lettuce a couple days ago. It was flowing.
Why did you get a cut? It was time?
Yeah, it was time. I always do it right before the season. Kind of just like a mental thing, and just to let everyone know,
lock in.
All business from here on out.
No more flow.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so played lacrosse, and knew that I wanted to play sports in college. And in middle school, it kind of all started coming to fruition. Was one of the best athletes, and knew that if I stayed locked in, then I was going to have the opportunity. Ninth grade, didn't get any offers. I played varsity, offense and defense, and kind of started to wonder, like, is it ever going to really come for me? In football, I knew that lacrosse was going to be an option at that point, because that recruitment just happened so early. But after my ninth grade year, went to a couple camps, and ran some good 40s. That's honestly what put me on the radar of a lot of coaches and programs. Got my first offer from Coach Cutcliffe and Duke, and then after that, kind of all fell into place. Wake Forest, NC State, UNC, a lot of the ACC schools, and then had a really good sophomore year, and that's kind of when it blew up. Went to SEC and just, every big conference. I was just getting offers from a lot of the places that, I dreamed of playing at when I was a kid. So
as a guy who's not massive and you're a white running back or all-purpose back, did you feel like people weren't taking you seriously at first for a while until you started running those 40s? Because I saw something where your high school coach said, in the beginning, some coaches would come and they'd be like, "This is the guy you want us to recruit."
Yeah, no doubt. Coach would, have coaches come in, and I could kind of just tell. They'd look at me and be like, "You sure this is Shipley, right? Is this the same kid I'm watching on film?" Yeah, that's how it was early on in the process, and I love that though. I love proving people wrong and proving people right as well. I think people always look at it as I got to prove the doubters wrong, but I've had people that have believed in me since day one, and proving those people right is as important to me as proving all the doubters wrong. But it was definitely a little hurdle to get over early on in my process.
Until you run a 4.3 or 4.4, then they stop messing
eyes are
around,
big,
right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden they don't care. What was the moment in the recruiting process? Did something happen or something not turn around, but something go on where you went from just a regular recruit with offers to like a 5-star, where you remember, like, was it an offer or maybe a camp you went to or a 247 ranking where it was like it took you up to like a national player where like everyone in college football knows who you are?
I wouldn't say there was an exact moment. It all kind of happened gradually for me. Like I said, early on, I didn't have much confidence in my ability because of my environment and the things that people were telling me, and the things that were going on. So I think the first 247 ranking came out, and I was maybe 1 or 2 running back or all-purpose back, and right then I was kind of like, okay, I can do this thing, and people are starting to respect my skill and just my devotion to the game. So after that first 247 ranking, and then all the other sites kind of followed, and then the offers started falling in, and that's when the confidence came. And it's not how it should be for all the young bucks watching, but that's how it was for me. So
it's been interesting. Not to divert the subject, I want to get back to recruitment, but the whole ranking system. And I was following it last night with the draft, like how accurate they are now, and how they're so good at the old In college football, everyone's like, rankings don't matter, stars don't matter, but they really do, and it predicts team success pretty well. Like, and they were clearly right about you. Have you seen that same thing? Like, how did you feel about the rankings and the stars when you were going through it?
Yeah, I would love to say that I didn't care about them at all.
Exactly. But whenever people say that, I'm like, that's a lie. You definitely you know exactly what ranking you were.
Exactly, 100%. You're refreshing the page the day they come out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I definitely cared about them and looked at them. But as I've gotten older and matured a little bit, I understand kind of you shouldn't put too much thought into it as a player, because you put in the work and you're going to continue to progress, and that's what really matters, is just never staying stagnant. But I cared about it, and I think, like you said, every high schooler does. When those rankings come out, you want to be at the top of the list. If you're playing football, you're probably a pretty competitive guy. So I definitely cared about him a little bit in high school, maybe too much.
I'll never forget when. Remember O.J. Howard? Remember that name, tight end that played in the NFL for a while?
Yeah.
I'll never forget when he passed me on the tight end rankings, like how mad I was.
Right. Red in the face.
I was emailing the guys like,
what's going on? What can I do?
What did I do, man? So then, as your recruiting picked up, what was your strategy going through it? Like, how did you get to your final few? I think your final few were Notre Dame, Clemson, Stanford, maybe.
Stanford, yeah.
How'd you get to those final schools?
Yeah, my family and I sat down, and they played a huge role in my recruitment and narrowing it down. But we just created a spreadsheet, and we listed
like an actual Excel spreadsheet.
Actual Excel spreadsheet with all the schools I've been offered by, and we had sections of what mattered to me in terms of education, who the head coach was, who the running back coach was, how successful they've been, what I think their future is going to look like, and kind of just weighed it out in that, and statistics matter, but at the end of the day, how I felt and the emotions also did play a big role in it. Just kind of let it play out. I didn't want to rush it at all, like you mentioned. COVID kind of threw a hammer in it, or whatever you would say.
You do the Zoom visits, right?
Exactly.
You couldn't go see them in person.
Too many of those. Yeah. Way too many of those. But just started to narrow it down with what coaching staffs I really gelled with, and where I just thought I could be most successful. I've always kind of had that view of, I understand that the environment you put yourself in is a huge reason for your success. Yeah. So, that played a huge role in my recruitment.
I'm curious about this spreadsheet. So did you actually give like a number grade and then like calculated it at the end on the spreadsheet?
It was 1 through 5.
1 through 5.
1 through 5, and 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. My parents and I went through after we would visit somewhere every single time. We just revisit it and say, you know what? We think this is now a 4, or maybe it's not a 4. Let's move it down to a 3. And we just had a total at the bottom, and would just continue to go back to it throughout my process.
Did Clemson have the best score?
No, they didn't, surprisingly. Right? And then
that's what you mean when you said the feel. You got to know how you
exactly.
feel.
Exactly. Yeah. The emotional part of it as well, and just how your heart feels. So it definitely helped me narrow it down. But then once I got down to those 3, 4, 5 schools, that's kind of when let the emotions take over.
Who won the XL recruitment?
I think it was Notre Dame. I can't believe I'm saying that. But at the time it was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, they won the battle, but not the war, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Funny. That's funny. So then the COVID, the Zoom tours. Explain how that process went, because for people that don't remember, like you couldn't visit campuses for a while, or you couldn't visit with the coaches at least. So you had to, I was coaching at the time, so we would get on Zoom, and the whole staff would give you a tour, but it's videos of the facility, right? Literally. Talk us through that process, and how do you really know a school or coaches via Zoom? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it was really tough. I think I had visits scheduled to go to Notre Dame, Stanford, and Clemson back-to-back weekends, and they were all in March, and it was right when COVID hit. And so they all got canceled, and that's kind of when everything just started to go crazy. A lot of havoc. Coaches trying to navigate how they were going to recruits trying to figure out how they'd get the best information to make the best decision possible. There was a lot of Zoom calls with each program. I would say the PowerPoint was probably the most most thing I saw was coach pulling up a PowerPoint with the past running back success and
you know what it's going to say.
Picture of the stadium on Saturday with everyone in there. That's kind of what it was.
Coaches can't use Zoom. They're trying to share their screen. They don't know how to do it.
They would have their assistant helping them get on. You could see them. Yeah, exactly. So it was a funny process, no doubt.
That's funny. So then the decision to actually pick Clemson, how did that decision come about? Because if I remember correctly, it was really close, and a lot of people thought you were going to go to Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was. I know a lot of people out there think that I had Clemson set, on my mind, but I did not. Leading up to my decision, I was back and forth, talking to my parents, and I really didn't know what to do. That's just when I went to God in prayer, and I think one of the biggest factors too was that Clemson was my last visit. It was the last in-person visit that I had gone to, junior day, and just sitting there in front of Coach Swinney and hearing him talk about his program and where he sees his program going was huge in my decision. Yeah, but as I narrowed it down, Coach Elliott, who head coach at UVA now, he honestly had the biggest role in my commitment, and just the conversations that I had with him, and just kind of the advice and the knowledge that he was willing to share with me. It was ultimately why I chose Clemson.
Mm-hmm. I read somewhere that you had told Coach Elliott that you were very close to committing to Clemson, and then he asked you a few months later where you're at, and you were like, now it's 50-50, Notre Dame and Clemson. And then there was a phone call, right, with Coach Elliott that kind of shifted things back. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So it was after the junior day visit. My parents wanted me to commit on spot. My dad was like, "This is the place to be," right? And I was like, "No." I'm told myself I was never going to commit same day of a visit. Yeah. So I'm going to stick to that.
Why was that? Because of the emotional high you get when you're there?
Exactly.
Not good decision making.
Yeah. Just couldn't weigh all options. I felt like I would have been doing other universities a disservice if I, made an urgent decision like that. But yeah, told Coach Elliott, I believe that I was like 95%. I was like, I really want to do Notre Dame and Stanford, the right way, and really evaluate those schools, and make sure that, my family and I make the best decision for us and for myself. And then, COVID hit and we got into things, and Notre Dame did a hell of a job. That's what I'll say.
Who was recruiting you there? Was it
Lance Taylor?
Lance Taylor, yeah.
Lance Taylor.
He's a beast.
Tommy Reese. Both great coaches, great recruiters, great guys. And yeah, so at that point I was truly just back and forth. Didn't know what to do, and the timeline was kind of coming to an end. I knew I wanted to commit a little early and try to help my class, help build a good class. And it was 50-50 at that point. Had told Coach Elliott that because I was very transparent with all the coaches that I was talking to, and he sent me some Bible verses actually on just thought and how to go to God and ask for questions, and that was a huge reason for my commitment to Clemson. And he ended up calling me after about a month of sending me them, and was like, "Hey, did you read those, and do you want to go over them?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." Spent like an hour and a half on the phone, and he's at the dinner table eating Chipotle with his wife and kids, talking about these Bible verses to me, and that just meant the world. That'll stick with me, to my grave. Just the devotion and how much he cared about me outside of football. So that, like I said, that was a huge reason, and we talked about him over the phone, and I think after that phone call is really when I knew that Clemson was the best spot for me.
That's awesome. That's a cool story. Yeah. How upset were you when he left? Was that difficult?
Like I said, my parents and I were very on top of things. So we'd asked him the question in terms of, do you see yourself being a head coach? How long do you see yourself at Clemson? And he never tiptoed around it, but he never gave a straight answer because I don't think he truly knew. He was following God's path as well. So I got to Clemson, and I think like the first couple days they called a tight end and running back meeting, and I'm new, so I'm like, oh, just a cool meeting. Everybody else, I think Darian actually is the one that told me, he's like, "This ain't normal."
This ain't a good meeting.
And Coach Elliott, came in and just talked a little bit, and he actually ended up switching over to tight ends, before my freshman year. And Dan Pierman took a role outside of the field, and Coach Spiller stepped into the running back role, which I thought was a little fishy because when I was moving in, Coach Elliott didn't move me in. Coach Spiller moved me in, right? So it was looking back with some hindsight bias. It was kind of obvious that it was going to happen, right? But that's just kind of the whole process went down. And Coach Elliott called me after that meeting because he knew how important it was to me that he was there, and we had a really good conversation. But I'd be spoiled to not be happy with Hall of Famer CJ Spiller, Coach Spiller. Sorry, Coach, if if you're listening to this, to be my coach. He's been great for me. The best thing I could ask for, no doubt.
We had him on the podcast before.
Awesome. Have you?
Oh, it was awesome. We talked for like 2 hours, dude. It flew by. He's the man. He was telling some great stories. But when you did commit to Clemson, how'd you do it? And what was Dabo's reaction?
It was over a Zoom call, actually. So Coach Pierman, who had been recruiting me, since my sophomore year, set up a Zoom meeting with me, Coach Swinney, Coach Elliott, and himself.
So how'd you set the Zoom meeting up? Did you tell him, hey, I want to commit on a Zoom call, or you just asked for a meeting?
I just asked. Coach Pierman actually threw me an alley-oop, and he was like, hey, would you ever want to meet with Coach Swinney or talk to him? Because I didn't talk to him very frequently throughout my recruiting process, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. In the back of my mind, I knew I was going to commit on it at that point. So got on a Zoom call with them, and just let him know that I was committing. And Coach Swinney, being who he is, he got up and he was in his office, grabbed one of his footballs, in the background, and did the Heisman pose. Right. So it was a great experience. Something that I'll definitely remember for the rest of my life. It was great.
Once you committed, then your recruitment was done. Did you shut it down completely? Ever thoughts of like wavering at all, or was it done?
Completely done. Yeah, I cut off all communication with other coaches. If they'd reach out, I'd be respectful and always contact them back, but just let them know. I'm set on my decision, and I'm going to be a Tiger.
Love it. What's Dabo's main recruiting pitch? When you're at junior day and you meet with him, what's he saying to you and the family to try to close the deal?
I think just how much he cares about his players, not as football players, but as humans and as men. His number one thing is he wants to see you graduate. And then he wants to see you grow as a man. And then he wants to see the success on the field, and in that order. And that was a huge thing for my family and I. And I think once you get to this level of college football, you don't see that very often. You got a lot of these places, and I'll use the term football factories, but they care about what you do on the field, and that's not what I wanted. And for Coach Swinney to emphasize that stuff was a huge reason. And one of his best recruiting pitches that he continues to come back to even today.
Yeah. What's the with all the attention you got in recruiting, especially in the beginning when you're fielding calls from like a million different schools, which I know is stressful, what's the craziest or funniest thing a coach said to you during the recruiting process? Because I know the coaches get desperate at some point and they start saying some wild things.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'd have to go way back. I think probably one of the craziest things that I've ever heard, and it's not a positive thing, is that, and I'm not going to mention the school, but I went to a camp, and
before we get back to the pod, I want to tell you guys about Manscaped, the first ever sponsor of the Next Up podcast with Adam Breneman, so need y'all to support them. Fellas, let's face it, shaving your balls is tricky, and there's not much room for error. I've always been nervous shaving down there until I got the Lawnmower 4.0. It features a ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It's waterproof, it's got a 4K LED light. I mean, this thing is top-notch. And the best part is I've got a special code for all of you to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Use the code ADAMB, A-D-A-M-B, put it in manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping. And when you guys use that code and support Manscaped, our first sponsor, it helps me a ton, helps them, help us, helps everyone all around. Let's all love each other. Head to manscaped.com, use the code ADAMB, 20% off and free shipping. ADAMB, 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com.
Ran a 4.4 flat. Did everything I was supposed to, and just didn't feel right with the coach, throughout the whole camp. And went up to him after, with respect, and was just like, "Hey, coach, you think I can get better in any way? What ways do you think I can, improve?" And he told me, "You probably need to switch sports." Yeah.
Stop it.
No, he said you should play lacrosse in college. Yeah, to my face. to my face.
Boy, he was wrong, huh?
Yeah, right. And so that's one of those people that I love proving wrong. Yeah.
Was it like a big school? Like, would we know who the school was?
It was a very big school. Yeah. Everybody would be really amazed with if I was to say it. But out of respect for him and the university, I'm not going to. But yeah, that was the craziest thing I've ever heard. So like I said, I thought I had a great day. I'm high off of running a 4.4 and catching balls against linebackers all day. And he told me I needed to switch sports. That was going into my sophomore year. So early on,
cross that one off the list,
right? Exactly.
Just use it as motivation, right?
Yeah,
I
know.
What a bad evaluator that coach is. Wow, that's bad. That's great. Then what was your transition process like as a 5-star? And everyone knows who you are. In getting to campus, was it an easy transition? Was there a moment you struggled at all?
No, I honestly had a really smooth transition. And that's something Clemson does such a good job of, is just making sure that you have those resources.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. And, just the friends that I got off bat, with Phil Maffa.
Yeah.
I love that dude, man. He's been one of the best friends I could ask for since stepping on campus, in terms of, him holding me accountable, me holding him accountable, and, being able to just bounce ideas off of each other, gain knowledge off of each other. So that's been great. But yeah, it was a smooth transition for me. Academics wasn't bad. So yeah, I loved it. I never had much problem. I guess I would say maybe a little homesick, first couple months. I think everybody kind of deals with that a little bit. But, being from Charlotte, only about 2.5 hours away. So I was able to, go home and see my parents, see my family. So it was nice.
It's awesome. Yeah, it seems like Clemson does a great job of just during that time, like communicating, and like it seems like they're on top of everything. Because I've seen schools that it's a mess when you're transitioning, right? Yeah. You don't know what dorm you're staying in. It's crazy. But I'm sure they have that process buttoned up pretty well.
Yes, yeah, no doubt.
So last season you was all ACC at 3 different positions, right? So
yes,
what are the 3? Running back, all-purpose back, and specialist?
Yeah, kickoff return.
Got it. Obviously a great year. What do you think it is on the field that makes you different than basically every other back in the country?
Yeah, I think it's my ability to do anything that I'm asked to do, and just my toughness. I switch that. I switch into a mode that sometimes I don't even like when I'm out on the field, right? And the adrenaline gets going, and I lay down my life on the field, to get a win, and for my brothers, So like I said, when I get on that field, it's just something different happens, and then the all-purpose ability and being able to catch the football. I think it's something that I've shown in the past 2 years, but hasn't been much opportunity to do so, and I've had some hurdles to get over with that. So pumped about Coach Riley and the things that I think are going to come to fruition this year, and really be able to show people what I can do catching the ball out of the backfield, playing in the slot, and just be able to create matchups anywhere on the field.
When someone asks what position you play, what do you say? All-purpose back? Is that your answer?
Yeah. I don't like to think of myself as a running back, but at the same time, I don't ever want people to think that I won't take 20 carries in between the tackles.
Inside zone.
Because I love it. I love that stuff. I love getting hit, man. That's what people don't realize about me. And, you can ask my teammates, but I'm just crazy out there. Yeah. Once I switch into that football player mode, I love every part of it.
Where do you think that comes from? Like the craziness between your ears when you're out on the field?
Yeah, I think it comes from God. It's just the Holy Spirit within me. And, I get told all the time, how do you do it? Or, you just got something different about you when you're on the field. But, it's just, him living through me. And, that's one of the ways that, it shines, and I'm able to, just spread his light.
Yeah. What's something that you want to improve upon from your from the last 2 seasons to now? What's a skill or something that you need to work on personally?
Yeah, I think for every running back, it's pass blocking. That's one big thing.
They got to just put you on the routes, man.
Right?
They shouldn't be keeping you in the pass block.
That's what they did in high school, which is why I didn't have much of a foundation.
Yeah, just 5-man protection.
Right?
That's all we need. Come on, Coach Riley.
Yeah, hopefully he sees this clip. No, but yeah, definitely pass blocking and being able to just pick up a blitzer and protect the quarterback. I would say patience is probably one of the other things. Like I said, when I get on that field and my adrenaline starts going, I love doing everything so fast, and sometimes I lack patience. But it's something that I'm working on as the game has slowed down for me. It's something that I'm seeing an increase of, and this spring was great for me to be able to kind of see it come to fruition. What's
your favorite play? Like, it could be a run play, a pass route. Like, what's the play that maybe it's third down and you guys need a big play and you're like praying that they signal this play in?
Yeah. I would say either just a quick swing out of the backfield, get me one-on-one with a backer or safety. And if we're talking run, I think the most beautiful play in football is counter.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
So when you said beautiful play in football, I knew.
It's just,
man. You got to kick, tight end inserts.
Exactly, mesmerizing thing. Everything just, it's bundled up, and then it opens. It's just daylight. You're one-on-one with the safety, which is all you can ask for in the game of football. I would definitely say counter.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing that's changed between the old offense and Coach Riley's new system?
I would say the confidence that he has in us. Just explosives. Giving Cade the ability to check and make decisions based on what he's seeing on the field, right? And that's such a big thing. And I think why Cade's going to have such a big year is because a lot is on him, but he can take it, and being able to make those adjustments on the fly is what's going to make us so successful this year.
How do you find out that there's a change being made at offensive coordinator? Like, how's that happen for you guys? Does Coach Swinney tell you he's thinking about doing it? Like, what's that process like?
Twitter feed.
You found out on Twitter?
Yeah, I found out on Twitter. Man, I think it caught everybody by surprise.
Yeah.
With Coach Riley being in the college football playoffs and making it to the national championship. The communication from what Coach Swinney has told us was not very much. He reached out to Coach Riley's brother, Lincoln Riley, over at USC, and was asking him for some offensive coordinator ideas or who he thought he could talk to. And
my brother.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I found out on Twitter, just refreshing my feed, and I was like, holy cow. I did a little bit of research and, knew that TCU was really successful offensively after watching them. And, just super pumped for this year.
How has it been learning the system? Is it a tough system to learn? Is it obviously you had spring ball now to learn it and understand it?
Yeah, it's complex, but also really simple is the best way I can put it. The plays that are going in, there aren't very many of them, but the different things that you can do, it's a lot more free will at each position, and making decisions, like I said, based off what the defense is doing on the fly. So knowing those parts is complex, but actual, putting in the offense and learning the base plays, that was easy. Yeah. I think Coach Riley, brought us together after the third day and was like, that's 75% of the offense right there. And we're all like, are you serious? Right? It's been great. And, throughout the spring, just the learning curve and getting everybody on the same page.
Yeah. Tell us about Cade Klubnik. We've had him on the podcast too. Actually shot it right over here. What's he like? We know what he is on the field. What's he like as the person?
Oh, he's special on and off the field. He's a follower of Christ, most importantly, and you see that just by being around him. He just shines, man. He's a natural leader. and he brings others along with him, which is what makes him such a good leader. And he makes you feel good about yourself, you know. And that's a great thing to have about yourself is to not only bring others along, but to put a smile on their face while doing it. And that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, no, he seems like a special dude, man.
He is.
What do you think about how he, just that whole situation you guys had last year with DJ? Some of the struggles he had, and then Cade, and how Cade handled that, and then what was the dynamic in the locker room like when that was going on? Anytime you have a quarterback controversy, if you want to call it that, there's things can get messy in the locker room.
Yeah, I thought we handled it really well as a squad. Going into the year, obviously Cade Klubnik, 5-star coming in, it was a big deal, and DJ not having as much success as we thought he would, the year before. There wasn't much of a competition. DJ did really well in fall camp and did his thing. He earned the job. And Cade was really understanding with it, and you could just tell he wanted to get knowledge and continue to just get better. And that's exactly what he did. And when the time came for him to take over, he did, and with all the confidence in the world. He brought a new energy to our team at the end of last year. Especially in the ACC championship, that like you said, was just special.
I'm excited to see him. I think he's got Heisman ability. So do you. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. What's your pregame routine like? What do you do in pregame?
Yeah. As I've mentioned, I get so into it, and my adrenaline starts pumping, and so I try to chill out as much as I can before games, right?
With the heart rate.
Yeah, conserve the energy. So I'll throw some headphones on and listen to some chill music, J. Cole or Mac Miller, someone to just kind of relax me.
I was going to ask what chill music is. Mac Miller, I like that.
Yeah. And just try to like you said, get the heart rate down. And then when I cross those lines, though, it's game on.
You don't play nice with others out there. Are you like a nervous pregame guy, or are you more just amped up and excited?
Amped up and excited. I understand that nerves come for different people at different times, but I'm also a true believer, and it's cliche that confidence comes in preparation, and preparation is something that I prioritize. As an athlete at Clemson University, watching the film, getting the synopsis of the linebackers and the D line, and everybody that I'm going against. I have full confidence when I go into Saturday knowing that I'm ready to go, and I really just go out there and play free.
What's a moment in your career so far that you have been nervous, though? Is there or maybe the most nervous you've been? Give me a game or a time in your career.
Yeah, definitely freshman year, first game against Georgia.
Welcome to college football.
Exactly. It was back in Charlotte too, so hometown, and we went through the first 9, and I think it was the second or the third play we had a play that Coach Swinney inputted on Friday, and
0 reps in practice.
Yep. And you can actually go back and look at the clip. I was wide open. Now I wasn't the first read, which is why DJ threw it to Davis. I think it got batted down by one of their humongous defensive linemen. But I was so nervous running onto that field. I knew what play was going to be called. Because as you know, it's all scripted.
The openers.
Yep. And God, man, I just remember almost thinking please don't throw this ball to me, right?
I better catch this ball.
Right? So that's definitely the most nervous I've been.
That's funny. Against Georgia, too, man.
No joke.
Never be easy. What's your favorite play of your career so far?
I think I'd be lying to you if I didn't say Louisville last year, the hurdle. It's just, to me, all hard work and preparation that you put in behind closed doors, just being put into the spotlight. People always ask me, did you think you could do that? That's something Coach Spiller and I work on every week in practice.
The hurdle.
Yeah, the hurdle. It's something that we've talked about, and he always tells me, guys are going to start going for your legs. You got to add another dimension to your game. So yeah, just to be able to see that kind of blow up the way it did, and it was.
You were
cool.
Viral there for a second.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sweet. What's your favorite or best Dabo Swinney story?
Oh, there's so many of them.
I know.
So many.
I love this question. Always a good one.
I would say the Zoom call with the Heisman pose.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable for me. But I think one thing that sticks out to me is that he just remembers everything. It doesn't matter when it happened. He remembers everything. So early on in my recruitment, I think my junior year, going into my junior year this summer, my grandmother came on a visit and got to meet him, and I call her Ninny. N-I. It's funny because my brother spells it N-I-N-N-Y, and she signs cards different for me and my brother. Sorry, side story. Yeah, but she got to come with us and meet Coach Swinney. And to this day, he still calls her Ninny and remembers meeting her. So nothing special, but it's just like another thing where it's like Coach Swinney is just so true and how
he cares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pays attention to the little things. Right? That's awesome. Yeah, he seems like we need to get him on the podcast, but he seems like such a good dude.
He is,
and he's got a lot of sayings, like one-liners, right?
Yes.
Can you give me your favorite one?
So many.
What's he's got? The one he always says is, "Today I will do what
do what you can now, so that when you cannot, you will not wish that you would have when you could have." Yeah, that's one of my favorites. But I think another one is invest your time, don't spend it. Yeah. And it just goes to everything in life. Yeah. Are you just spending time trying to get through the days, or are you investing your time, and are you going to see the return on that investment in the future?
Yeah. What's your goal for this season?
Be the best running back in the nation, and to win a national championship. It's a common goal for our team is to hold that trophy up at the end of the year. But then individually, I want to show everybody what I'm capable of, and like I said, just all the work that's been put in behind closed doors, and with the lights dimmed down, just to be able to put that into the spotlight and show everyone that I'm the best in the country. Yeah.
In maybe a decade from now, and people talk about Will Shipley, what do you want them to talk about?
Just how I was able to influence other people, and in a positive way. So Coach Swinney actually has us choose a word at the beginning of every year that we want to live by. And last year for me, it was influence. And, I wasn't really sure why, because, we didn't have the year we wanted to. We didn't get to the college football playoffs. It wasn't a failure by any means, but we just didn't maximize, the opportunities that we had. And I think I'm not realizing it until now. But to be able to go through 2 years of hardship at Clemson,
two losses,
right? Has allowed me to kind of look at everything from a different perspective, and to be able to use those perspectives to influence, the young bucks and the fans and everybody around us. So just that I was able to influence people in a positive way.
What's your word this year?
Haven't thought about it.
Oh, so you do it before camp or something?
Fall camp, yeah. Fall camp is usually when I decide by. But I'll kind of go through the word and read a couple different books, and I'll write down a couple words that I think could be the one, and then make that decision by fall camp.
Yeah. That's cool that Dabo has you do that. Sweet. That's a cool practice. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a great question.
It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
These guys have heard me ask it a lot on the podcast.
Yeah. Best advice I've ever received. I could say a lot of different things, but I think the best thing that I'm thinking of right now.
Before we get back to the pod, I want to tell you guys about Manscaped, the first ever sponsor of the Next Up podcast with Adam Breneman, so need y'all to support them. I've seen a ton of shaving kits in my day, and it doesn't get any better than this. Manscaped is the best when it comes to below-the-waist grooming for men. Trust me, I use them all the time, and there's no complaints. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. You like the rhyme there? So join over 8 million men worldwide who use Manscaped with an exclusive 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com with the code ADAMB. ADAMB. Shout out to my first ever sponsor of the Next Up podcast, Manscaped. You guys know the deal. By supporting them, you support us. So please use the code ADAMB on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Code ADAMB, ADAMB on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping.
Is that you can't live two lives. You've got to stay true to yourself before you can help anybody else. And you've got to know yourself and be self-aware before, that influence comes to fruition. Just being yourself and never getting away from that. And if you do, holding yourself accountable. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable, then, you can't be in a leadership position. And, that's another thing that I believe God put me on this earth to do, is just to lead people.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. The one thing I just thought of as you were saying that, as we got all serious there, was
sorry about that.
No, you're good. I knew you just from following you and watching your stuff. I knew you'd have some great words of wisdom, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. And you're a great player, obviously, but that's why I was hounding your DMs for a while trying to get you on the podcast. How's it been being a place like Clemson with the stature that you are with NIL? Has it been a distraction? Have you enjoyed it? Give me kind of the lay of the land with NIL for Will Shipley. Yeah,
it's been great. And I think a lot of people have a negative perception of the two words Clemson and NIL just because of, past remarks that Coach Swinney has made and, just the reputation of it all. But it's been great for me to be able to utilize it and, just to be able to give back. That's my biggest thing is I understand that, the money that I receive or anything along those lines is just temporary. It's small compared to where I want to go and what I want to do in life, which is why I just try to give back as much as I can. Whether it's buying one of my friends a meal or donating money to Levine's Children's Hospital, something I'm very passionate about, is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got some bread coming in now. It's got to feel good, right?
Yes, right. Exactly. You just got a little bit of extra spending money.
Checks a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, Dabo made that comment. I remember it went viral. And what he was trying to say, I love, that makes tons of sense, but it just did not get perceived well.
Yeah.
He said something about being in God's name, image, and likeness.
Yep.
They took, you know how Twitter is. It takes a little clip.
I know, right?
Yeah. People love ripping on Dabo for his sayings.
Yeah. I've actually got a great story about that in Coach Swinney. So, a phrase that is, popular around here and, something that when you think of me is probably what you think of in terms of Clemson football is, ship happens. Mm-hmm. And it came to fruition my freshman year after we beat Florida State. I scored the game-winning touchdown, you would say. And, it was a night game, and Coach Swinney calls me. God, it's got to be probably 12 o'clock, maybe after close to 1, and he's like, "Hey, Ship, I'm here with some of my closest friends, and I came into the house and she said, ship happens," right? And he's like, "I love it." He's like, you gotta make an idea out of it. This is right when NIL was ramping up. And he's like, I'm gonna go on my radio show and I'm gonna say it because I think it's hilarious. He's like, but before anyone else does, you should
trademark it.
Yeah, you should trademark it and really try to make something out of it. Yeah. And so he helped me in that process. And
that's awesome.
it's blowing up and it's bigger than it's ever been. been in terms of, T-shirt sales and, just the money that I'm receiving from it.
Yeah.
And, that's all Coach Swinney. I would have never thought of that idea, would have never thought of that phrase. But, for all the people who don't think, he's advocating for it.
Yeah.
That's a prime example right there. He wants to see us succeed and thrive, in the NIL era as well.
Yeah. So that was all his idea, huh?
All his idea.
Or his friend's idea.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. I might need to get a Ship Happens hoodie.
Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got a couple, no doubt. I can get y'all some.
Yeah, need to hook it up. I'll wear it on the next pod.
Right?
Yeah, I love it. Well, this has been fun, man. Last thing I have for you, and I'm excited to hear your answer, is, you obviously have a different mindset than most, and you're dialed in and have a very clear plan for your future and the vision. What's your why? Like, why do you do what you do? Why do you wake up every morning and grind the way you do?
Yeah, first of all, just my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. All the sacrifice that he gave up for us, and just living my life through him. It's always been great, and I'm not gonna come on here and act like I'm the perfect human being. I make mistakes like everybody else, but he's always been there for me, and I can't say that about everybody in my life, but just to have that and be able to go to him and always come out with a little more wind in my sails with him and having conversations, and I would always throw in there my family, and what they've done for me is something I'll never be able to pay them back for. But my two goals in life, and these are huge to me, is to walk with Christ and become as close to him as I can, and second of all, make my mom, my dad, my brother, and my grandmother proud. And that's something I live by every single day. And when I make mistakes, I hold myself to those goals, and I ask myself, is that really what you want if you're doing this, or if you're making these mistakes? And it always just sets me straight. So those are the two things I would say is just God and make my family proud.
Love it, man. That's awesome. I appreciate it. This was a fun conversation, and I'm excited to see you win a Heisman, dude. I can't wait. We'll be following. I'll be at a game this year, I'm sure. So excited to see what you do, man. This has been fun.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I really appreciate y'all for having me on. But
last thing I wanted to ask you, I forgot.
Yeah,
coming to me.
Yeah, you're good.
Who are the guys we need to be, like, after spring ball? Who are the guys on the team we need to know about? Like, who should we be looking out for?
Yeah, I think if you've been following it all, everyone knows about Peter Woods.
Yeah, wait, he's coming here at 3.
Is he? Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. You'll get to see what a stand-up young man he is, and obviously the football player in the fall and throughout the spring you've been able to see. But he's a stud. And then offensively, we got some young bucks. I'd throw in Adam Randall, wide receiver. Antonio Williams had a lot of production last year, but he's going to reach another level this year. And I'll throw in Harris Sewell in there. He had a great spring at left guard for us. Kind of under the radar guy coming in, but he did his thing, handles his business, is about his work, and just continues to want to get better. So there's some names I'd throw out there.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Last question, I promise.
You're totally fine. I love doing this.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, things just keep coming to me.
Yeah.
We can just sit here and keep talking. But what do you got the rest of the day? You done now?
Chilling, yeah. I'm off.
For finals?
Oh yeah, huge thing. I've been telling everybody this because how pumped I am. But I was worried. Next Tuesday, 11 a.m. I had accounting, managerial accounting, and something. I don't like to throw it out there, but I'll brag on myself a little bit. I've got a cumulative 4.0 through my time here. Yep. Something I love telling everybody because of how much I care about my academics. But I was worried about this accounting class, and after our study session yesterday, last class period, professor, calls me up after class and a couple other people, I think 3 other people in the class, and was like, "Hey, you all have the 4 highest grades in the class and over 80%, attendance. So I'm exempting you all from the final. I was just like, fist pumps in the air. Let's go. Oh, I'm still pumped about it. I really am.
That final would have been brutal too, right?
And this weekend would have been brutal because of the studying, right? So now I've only got a couple finals that, I'm not too worried about because, my grades are pretty good in the class. So just enjoying the weekend with the boys and just taking in the most time, before I head back to Charlotte and start training.
You have a girlfriend?
I do not, but something's in the works. In the works.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
Who are your boys on the team? Who are you closest with?
Yeah, I'd say I've got four guys on the team that I've kind of just lived with every day since I've been here. You got tight end Jake Brennenstuhl, number 9. Who's going to have a great year. He's kind of gone on the radar too. Phil Maffa, as I mentioned, Marcus Tate, and Bo Collins.
Oh, cool.
So all on the offensive side of the ball. That's how we keep it.
Bo's a good player too, right?
Really great player. Yeah, he dealt with a shoulder injury last year that kind of cut his season short and didn't allow him to finish. But he's going to have a great year, breakout performance, and we need him to.
Yeah. Was it cool to see Miles and Brian go last night?
Heck yeah, it was.
Good for Brian too. Like all his family's been through, and
nobody deserves it more. Yeah, nobody deserves it more. But to see him and Miles go first round, and then see Bijan and Jameer to go 8 and 12, baby.
I know.
Oh, me and Phil
felt good. You're looking at the signing bonus on that.
Me and Phil were jumping up and down with that one. We were happy. So hopefully, God.
That was a wild pick by the Lions. Wild. I was
especially because they got Montgomery now. With Swift, are 2 great backs. So I'm interested to see how they incorporate them. More of a receiving back, use them in the slot, and then Bijan. Everybody knows how great he is.
Yeah.
So.
I'm excited to see. Will Levis is a good friend of mine, and he's been on the show a few times.
Yeah, I know how big you are on him. How do you take that? I mean, I was amazed.
I'm getting flamed on Twitter.
They were doing. I bet they were doing him so. I saw something today. Like they showed him 37 times last night, bro. Like 29 more than anybody else. I'm just like,
I mean, everyone knew.
Yeah,
everyone knew that. Whoever the 4th quarterback was has a chance to slide. There's only 3 teams needed a quarterback, really. Yeah. Right? So, whoever ended up being, they had a chance to fall in that round pretty because after the top, the 3 teams that need quarterbacks, it was like, who else is going to take one?
Yeah.
So that just sucks. I mean, Will's going to have a great NFL career. That just stinks that you're at the draft.
I know. They're putting you on the camera literally multiple times between every pick.
I just saw an article. It was like his girlfriend gained like 50,000 Instagram followers last night.
That is too funny.
It's great.
That's too funny.
I appreciate it, man. This was fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We got to come back and have you on sometime this season or after the season or something.
No doubt. No, it's been a great experience. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah.